what I do like, bringing it back to Fort Hood, is the leadership out there that they've taken notice, they've acknowledged some things have gone wrong, and they've taken action. That's what I like about it.
Welcome to Pull the Pin Already, a place where average veterans come to share their opinions on the world we live in. We can't guarantee you're going to like our opinions.
But we promise we're going to enjoy giving them to you.
I'm Jim.
And I'm Mike. Let's pull the pin.
Awesome. So back to tradition, Mike. What do you want to talk about?
Okay. Jim, somebody approached me today and they wanted to, they asked me a question. Hey, what's up with the military, and why do they have so many murders and so many, the death rate is going higher in the military, and I was like, I don't know. Let's talk about it.
Were they specifically talking about deaths outside of combat?
Yes.
Okay.
It's like you're seeing a lot on the local news, especially here at Fort Hood, with a lot of sexual harassment. We did a episode on that, and a lot of soldiers being murdered, soldiers committing murder, and you're just starting to see a lot of it. And we're not talking about the mass shootings. Fort Hood is famous for that.
Oh, yeah,
2
Fort Hood's
times, I
famous for
believe.
a lot.
Yeah.
In fact, we could probably narrow all this down to Fort Hood.
Exactly.
And just find out what's in the drinking water.
Yeah, they might want to clean out those water tanks they have out there.
Probably some water buffalo somewhere has got some zombie virus in it.
Yeah, but nah, they were just asking about that. And I know they were, because they're local here in the Fort Hood area, so they were asking specifically about Fort Hood, but they were generically speaking about just the military in general. Well, and I was like, I don't know.
Could you think that maybe that's their perception because they're sitting at Fort Hood?
Yes.
Because I have to assume Fort Hood's been in the news a lot lately for
it has.
murders and things like that.
Yeah.
So maybe that's their perception of the entire military based on Fort Hood.
And haven't we experienced that a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think you're correct with that. They looking at Fort Hood as the Army, as the military. That's it.
Do you have experience with that throughout your career? I know obviously our careers were, different time, now, but I don't think I remember any place as hot as like Fort Hood, where, there's lots of crimes and stuff like that. I mean, you have the occasional one here and there, but
yeah. But when you start talking about murder, and things of that nature, sexual harassment, I would say, was always there at all the large installations.
Sure. But that's expected. Like I think, like Philip said, we're humans. We're all humans.
Right.
So and granted, it's a controlled environment. And we have, restrictions and things a little different than just being a civilian on the loose on your own accountability.
Right.
But we're still human. Yeah,
and like what I was telling this civilian, I said, hey, man, what you have to realize is Fort Hood is its own city.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not like Fort Hood, and it doesn't represent the entire military. It doesn't represent the entire Army. It's its own city. And, that's how you got to look at it. And I did that, even when I was stationed here. That's where I learned it at, to be honest. That's when I learned it. Because I just said, man, they have all of these high schools and, all of these, the commissary supermarkets. It's like its own little city.
Well, we remember that from police work there, MP work.
Yeah.
I remember being in charge of a shift, and I'm like, where did all these people come from?
Yeah.
I mean, you got all these patrols, and they're all over there. Like the base is it still is the largest military base.
Yeah.
I think in the U.S., right? We might have some larger outside, but that's probably ranges. But it does have a lot of ranges too. So, but as far as population, I thought it was the largest population as well.
Yeah, I think if it's not the largest, it'll be number 2.
Yeah, it's definitely in the top 3 for sure. I know that. Because I was blown away with the numbers, and I don't even know if the numbers are public. Are they?
I think they are. I think last I looked, it was 28,000.
Really?
Yeah.
That's dropped because when we were there, it was up to like 56.
Well, okay. Now you're talking just soldiers or soldiers and family members?
Well, that's
you know what I mean.
But it is like what's an average city?
Well, I would say the ones that we have surrounding the Fort Hood area, you're looking at about 30 to 40.
Right.
Maybe 25 to 40, I would say. 25,000. You know, and so that's why I say it's its own little city, and within every city you have, you know, the ABCs of the, you know, the criminal minds, if you will.
Right, right.
Yeah, so it is the main important thing that I was trying to get across to the individual was, don't judge the Army by Fort Hood. Don't judge uh, the the military by the Army at Fort Hood as well. You know,
Right.
because once again, soldiers are human. You know, there's a reason why we have Leavenworth. There's a reason why we have Mannheim. So,
Right.
you know,
And you got to imagine too, the stresses that the soldiers are put under and the interactions are more
yeah,
confrontational and you can't get away from them.
right,
You can't
and
just go back to your barracks when you have a fight with somebody or a disagreement or,
right,
yeah.
right. There's a lot of stresses out there.
So yeah, I just,
And we're not saying that to justify their actions by no means.
right.
You know,
I just pulled up some statistics, and like you said, in 2020, it's got the population at 25,365,
yeah,
declining at a rate of 0% annually. Its population has decreased 14.28 since the most recent census, which was in 2010, when
right,
it was 29. But also shortly under that, um, it talks about named after the main containment of Fort Hood had a total population of 53,416.
yeah.
So those are the numbers I remember.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah,
think
yeah. Like I
counting
said,
civilians, it was 70 something
yeah.
when I
You
went
look at
there.
the government civilians, you look at the family members working, you know, those NAF employees working at the PX and things of that nature. Yeah,
Right. So it's only common sense to say that the larger the population, the more chance you're going to have more crimes and types of crimes.
right. I mean, like if you take the crime at Fort Hood committed by soldiers,
Right.
right? That's probably different than like a place like somewhere in Hawaii where you have like 10 soldiers
We
on a
had more
beat.
than 10. So we had every military base. There were 2 military bases for every branch there. And let
Okay.
me tell you, there was crimes there too.
How do you
In
know
fact,
that, Jim?
because I was in military police I think that's where I saw my first body off the 12th floor. Yeah.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. And that was an eye opener right there. When you see
Wow.
what looks like an attractive person, comparable, but with the head split open from here and brains all over the wall, it was an eye opener. It was something I couldn't unsee. But as we spoke before, you got to find a way to push that into a compartment somewhere
Yeah.
and
Yep.
not personalize it. But that's why I kind of joke about it now. But I literally the skull was completely open and there was nothing inside of it. And 12th floor, something about an argument, and she climbed over the rail. The husband grabbed her and said, don't. She goes, if you let go of me, I'm jumping. And he let go and she jumped. That was the story.
Wow.
But yeah, so real things happen even in Hawaii. They really do happen.
Wow,
And
you
that's
just ruined the entire joke, by the way, but go ahead.
I know, no. But,
Yeah.
but it was relevant. It was relevant
Yeah.
because, like I said, I didn't expect that. We were
Right.
enjoying our time, at the beach at Waikiki, in
Mhm.
photos and, soldiers, we were
Yeah.
enjoying
Yeah.
it.
Whatever. Yeah.
And,
Mhm.
just checking out the scenery and we enjoyed it, and
Right.
then all of a sudden something like that happens and you're like, holy cow, this isn't some fantasy island. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Right. Right.
And to bring it back into perspective, go to Fort Hood. There's no beaches there. There's no, that's a
Right.
miserable place to begin with all
Yeah.
those people.
Yeah. You have gangs. You have
Gangs, yes.
everything there.
I
Yeah.
was blown away by the number of gangs in the military.
Yeah. Yep.
Blown away.
And yeah, and the number of investigations they have with certain gangs. Yeah.
Yep.
You name the gang, you have a soldier inside said gang for
Right.
sure.
Yep. Yeah.
And I didn't believe it because I held soldiers to a higher standard. I didn't believe it until I, became a part of investigations.
Right. Well, what do you think? I mean, if I was someone with malicious intent, and I consider people in gangs probably have that, inside them somewhere. Maybe they're not
Mhm.
doing it every moment. But what do you think makes them feel comfortable now? Like why, you talked about the increase or the civilians saw. Why do you think now we're seeing all this increase? Or is it just a perception again?
I think it's a perception.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. I would say it's kind of like everything else when it's always been there. It's just like certain things. Cell phones give more people access to certain things now, so it's always been there. And now we're just starting to see more of it. You can't, Like back in our day, a lot of these things would have been hidden from the public.
Right. But did you
You know
see
what I mean?
how many,
Yeah.
I mean, did you see a lot of this back then?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. A lot of gang related things.
Well, murders and things like that. Like this stuff, this
Murders.
kidnapping and this.
Now you talking hood specific?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, no.
That's what I was saying. So I didn't, I mean, I saw a lot of, like you're talking about swept under the rug or not swept under the rug, but
Right.
kept from the public. I saw things like that, sexual harassment, even potential, the R, big bad R words.
Right.
I saw some of that stuff, that's kept out of the public,
Right.
but I've never seen, I mean, if there was a murder, I don't, it was hard to hide.
Right.
So, but now, I mean, like you said, 25 in the last, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're starting to take accountability for these.
Yeah. Yeah. And now people are starting to, I think what's happening now is it's that old thing about, well, you should have said something. When a soldier
Right.
brings something to you, you should address it. Don't sweep it under the rug. Don't, the days of old about, hey, you need to toughen up, soldier, or things of that nature.
Right.
Those are gone. Those are gone. And I think rightfully so. When
Right.
people are losing their lives, not war related, hint, hint,
Right.
going back
Right.
to one of the shows we did, and I think it means a lot. I really do. It means a lot for them to start taking action for someone else's inaction.
Well, where do you draw the line? I mean, this is another conversation I had. Where do you draw the line? Because, like, for example, if you were a programmer, and you went to work and every day you try to program and you failed to program, you just couldn't take it as a programmer. At some point, do they say you're fired? You know what I mean? So, like, these people that commit suicide and things like that, I'm not faulting them per se, but I'm saying the military is not for everybody.
Right.
And I understand there's got to be accountability, and there definitely should be, because I know even from our level, team member down, you better know your team members.
Yeah.
Squad leaders better know your team leaders who
Yep.
know their team members. So
Right.
I understand that everyone needs to be involved. So this stuff shouldn't happen, but at some point there's got to be this person shouldn't be in the military. Instead
Yeah,
of
and most of
hindering
the
them,
time, yeah, but Jim, most of the time, when they do the investigation, someone said that. Whether it's they shouldn't be in the military, they need help, or
right?
something to that effect. This wasn't at Fort Hood. It was at another installation, and I was there, and this platoon sergeant was warned, hey, this soldier needs help. And
Right.
the platoon sergeant asked the soldier, hey, are you a psychologist or a psychiatrist?
Mm.
You don't know anything about that. And next thing you know, 2 days later, the soldier killed himself.
Ooh, yeah.
So of course that platoon sergeant, once the investigation was done, was relieved of duty.
Good.
And
Well,
everyone
that's
said,
fair.
rightfully so. Yeah.
No, that's fair. That makes
Yeah.
sense,
Yeah.
But even at some point, what's the like I've been through some traumatic times. What's the point where you're judged by the moment versus, hey, he's experienced something, get him some help to get through this moment.
Well, I think everyone talks to someone,
Right.
right? And you've seen that in the military units. So that you have to do a thorough investigation. And when something comes to me, when something lands on your desk, you have to investigate it thoroughly.
Yeah.
Right. In that way, and I hate to say this because we've said it a lot in the military, you have to CYA.
Yeah. Well, it's even more than CYA
Yeah.
to me. It's like everything to me warrants some investigation. Now,
Right.
it doesn't mean you tie up a whole bunch of resources right now and do it all, but everything warrants some sort of investigation. I could tell you a story about another story about Hawaii. We used to
Oh God.
we used to have this guy that called into the desk sergeant this is at the main base, and he used to report on like squirrels spying on the base or something crazy. Like you could tell the guy had something wrong with him.
Mhm.
But we would still like not entertain him per se, but we would go by. I mean, we would like just do a drive by. You'd always do that.
Yeah.
Just to check to see like maybe this guy sees something else, or maybe he's out there. You always check it out because that's how sometimes you stumble on things. So I think when somebody brings an issue to you, there has to be some form of investigation, even if it's just a conversation. Like,
Right.
well, what makes you think that? Why do you believe
Right.
that? You may not
Right.
even have to go out and investigate it. That's why, to go on a total different tangent, with the political status today, that's why when you spend 2 years investigating one thing and then you don't want to investigate another thing, I think you're wrong. I think you really just need to investigate things. maybe not
True.
all your resources, but when somebody brings a concern, address it, look into it.
Yeah. Yeah, and make it so that no one can say you did not do your due diligence, plain
Right.
and simple.
Right.
You know, and I think that right there is the reason why um, things are escalating in our military, because a lot of people, you have a lot of old heads there, and I don't mean that in a disparaging way, but you have a lot of old heads there, like, hey, toughen up, soldier. Back in the days, man up, toughen up, soldier. You'll be all right. And then some people just can't handle it.
Could you take the
You know,
flip side of that too and say
what's
you
that?
got a lot of entitled soldiers now coming in who are
Absolutely.
not being restricted?
Yeah.
So they can get
Absolutely.
away with whatever they want. They let their
Yes.
emotions control their actions. Next thing
Yeah.
you know, somebody's dead and they're burying them in the woods.
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
I think
You
those
can
old
flip the
heads.
script on that one.
Yeah, I think those old heads were what kept me in line because
True.
I respected them through fear most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here.
So if
Same
I
here.
got mad at somebody, it wasn't like I was going to go cut his head off just to get revenge and be like, they're never going to,
Yeah, but to go in line with what you just said, I've talked to a lot of the senior non-commissioned officers these days, and they say that those days are over. You
Yeah.
can't do what we once did back in the day. You can't do it today. It's almost like all the soldiers now, some way, less than 6 degrees of separation from some congressman with their parents, and next thing you know, they call, make a complaint, and you can't do anything to them.
Yeah, they pull out that
Yeah.
stress card and be like, "Well, wait a
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah.
I had to kill her. I was stressed."
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and there's sometimes you have that, and I don't
Right.
get it. I don't get it. But to me, if something comes on your desk, you should do your due diligence so if it comes back, someone can say, well, she did do everything within their
Yeah.
power.
Yep.
They escalated it, they investigated it thoroughly, and found it to be unfounded.
Right.
Or, like I said, they escalated it to the next level or recommended some kind of therapy.
Yeah, I think the dynamics in the military. I mean, like we compared the Fort Hood to a city. It is a city, and one of the dynamics we talked about is some of them are civilians, dependents. Dependents could be doing all kinds of crimes, and I've seen gang members that were dependents.
Yeah.
And they get away with a whole lot more on a military base.
Yeah.
But there's also the dynamics of the soldier itself. I mean, you're on a confined place, and that's where you spend a lot of your time most of the time. You're confined. You're forced in with people you don't like. You can't get away. And then I think a lot of civilians right now are seeing that with this whole pandemic, what it's like to be confined. You start to go crazy.
Yeah.
So when you start to go crazy, those emotions they come out in behaviors that you probably wouldn't normally do.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
So a sort of simple fight, like I'm saying, between two soldiers could escalate to a stabbing.
Yeah.
Because their tensions and their frustrations are so high right now.
Yeah.
Because they're confined. I mean, soldiers live in that kind of normally.
Yeah.
And I think civilians are starting to see that, what it's like.
Yeah, and once again, that's not giving an excuse to for anyone's behavior, but I think what I do like, bringing it back to Fort Hood, is the leadership out there that they've taken notice, they've acknowledged some things have gone wrong, and they've taken action. That's what I like about it.
Right.
Yeah, I appreciate that a whole lot because I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot throughout my military career, and I'm going to be honest. At Fort Hood, back when we were stationed there, I didn't see that much. I've seen it at other installations. When you talk about what they're seeing now on Fort Hood, I've seen it more on other installations when I was there. So,
right, fair enough. Well, maybe I'm thinking the crime was low because I was there. I mean, that's why. I mean, clearly it was.
Well, I think it was just because we were there.
Yeah, we're right.
Mainly me, but I'll give it to you.
Yeah. Right. I brought some of that Hawaii patrol tactics over to Fort Hood.
Yeah, it worked.
But
we just had a good conversation. Come raise.
Well, no. I think we even talked about this with Nate too when we had him on. Like Fort Hood's a great training place for any military, police, or law enforcement experience because their crime rates are much higher.
Yeah.
So that's kind of expected when you go to a place with more people, bigger, population, and it's still confined. I mean, it's still confined. The cantonment area, whatever they call that.
Yep.
Whatever they call that.
Yeah, the cantonment area.
Yeah, that's still smaller.
Yeah.
You know, just because the base was big, it's still small. So you have a lot more interactions, annoying people you have to tolerate, you know, neighbors calling on neighbors. And so you have a lot more of that. So it's to be expected kind of tensions arise. But we always
Yeah.
had the fear, like I would say, the fear of losing our job.
Yeah.
So you didn't let it get out of hand because you'd call the MPs or you'd call the chain of command first.
Mm-hmm.
Where in civilian world, you know, half the time you live there, you're not going to move, so you're stuck in it.
Yep.
And you know, if it's your neighbor, you just deal with it.
Yeah, and that's what I think that's the flip side of that. That's one thing I didn't like about the military is how you do something, people call you chain of command. Whereas if they did something, oh, I can't call your boss. And
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
Like the police are not going to call your supervisor or your manager or whatever, you know, and I just never liked that.
Yeah, it was, but I mean, I think that's, like I said, what donates to the fact that
The fear.
we were a little more controlled.
Yeah,
We did have a
absolutely.
higher expectation because there was an extra layer of, you know, overhead.
Yeah,
So it
yeah,
wasn't just the law we feared, it was the push-ups
yep.
or the KP duty,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know. But
yeah.
also,
The
that may even,
disciplinary action.
right, they may even contributed to why more things were allowed too. Because think about the punishments. If you say you got into a fight with another guy, that's assault.
Yeah.
You could go to jail for assault, you know, charge, whatever, and then you're in
Mm-hmm.
court. Well, in the army, you can assault somebody and then spend a week on KP, and you'll be like, I ain't doing that again.
Right, right. Yeah,
So,
that extra duty went a long way.
yeah,
Have you ever
that's
had that,
effective.
Jim?
No, not for trouble. No,
No?
I've had it as a rotating duty on deployment.
Oh, okay.
Never as a punishment. No,
Never had extra duty? Wow. Some people would
no,
say you really didn't experience
yeah,
being a
no,
soldier.
no, no. Yeah,
Well, you
no.
know, in Hawaii, so yeah, you didn't want
It's
to mess
hard.
up
That's
that.
hard.
Yeah.
But you know what? You know what? To be honest with you, you know how bad my memory is. I'd have to think on this. You can't ask me something like that and expect me to respond. You know,
Yeah. We'll
so
get
many
it.
years later.
We'll get the honest answer. Well, you'll remember it 2 episodes later.
Right. I have never had an Article 15. That's for
Really?
sure. Yeah,
I mean,
never had.
me neither.
What?
Yeah.
I don't believe you. Anyways, that's yeah, no, I've never had one because you know, I respect. I don't want to say I respect. I feared and respected the authority. You know, there
Mm.
were times like I told you the story about mouthing off to my squad leader because he put us in a crossfire and he put me in the truck. I think we had that conversation with Nate too when he was
Yeah.
on. Yeah, I mean, I would do things like that. I would back talk, you know, but it was always just low level punishment stuff.
Mm.
I never did anything serious to, you know, I had a buddy who worked in the arms room with me, which I'm not going to share his name, but one night he got bored and he emptied out the entire vending machine of its candy and put it in a bucket for everybody to take when they showed up. Yeah, he got in trouble for that
How did he do it?
with a coat hanger, just pulling it off.
Really? That's too much time right
He had
there.
so much time. He was so bored, and there really wasn't anything to do. When you're in the arms
Wow.
room, you actually just sleep with a bunch of weapons,
Yeah.
and you were allowed
Yeah.
to sleep. So if you
Yeah.
couldn't sleep, then
Was that
yeah.
a 24 hour? And now we look at us starting to talk
It was
about that. That was 24
hour.
hours?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
24-hour duty.
I did
Yep.
that at McPherson.
Oh,
Yeah, those
but
fireman hours.
that wasn't a punishment though. That was, you know, an extra duty they called
Yeah.
them, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Extra duty.
that was
Yeah.
supposed to be something to put on your resume, or you know what we call your
Yeah.
your
You never received the what do they call that? Skill identifier?
right.
Yeah, you never received that, but hey, you could do it
Yeah.
here. Yep.
Yeah.
I
Well,
understand.
yeah,
Yeah.
but there was a little power in it too. I'm not taking that weapon and it's not clean.
Right, yeah.
Get a guy working a 12-hour shift coming in with a dirty weapon and you're got an attitude. Oh, no.
Yeah, he'll
No.
chamber around quick.
Yeah, I would always clean it for him if it was that bad.
Yeah.
I got another 12 hours. I'll clean it for
Yeah.
you. Good to go.
I'll be here.
Have a
Yeah,
good
just
night.
slip me $50. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's that to mention that too, armors like that, like, you know, guys have access to weapons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's why also you look at these murder things, you know, these guys have access to that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know if I didn't read up on all the cases and all that in Fort Hood. I don't know if you're familiar with any, but were they done with military weapons or were they done with, you know, were they done on base?
Yeah, done on base. And 2 of them done on base and they were dropped off base. The
Wow.
bodies were dumped off base. Yeah. Now the other one I didn't read up on that one, but the one with that Vanessa, yeah.
Right. That's the recent one, right?
Yeah. Well, not the most recent, but it's because somebody came right after that.
Oh, but that's the one that got the attention.
Yeah.
And it's so
Yep.
sad. It's sad that, you know, it's sad that this has to happen to get that attention.
Yeah.
But you're kind of relieved now that at least it got the attention.
Yeah, there's some closure for one, and it just goes to show that you shouldn't sweep things under the rug, carpet,
Right,
whatever they call
right.
it. You know, address it. Once again, getting back to that, you should address everything when it gets on your table.
Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, if we brought it all out in public, then everyone would think the military was just there to kill.
Yeah, like who thinks that?
Right. I mean, you train these guys to kill and then they kill and you're like, what's going on over there? Like
Right.
weird. It's just that's a weird philosophy, right?
Yeah, just weird, man.
Yeah.
Just
I'd hate for the
it's
public to think we were there just to kill. I mean, that's
yeah,
like duh.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, unless we go to war, but
Right, right. Of
that's
course,
another
war, right,
topic.
right. That's a whole nother topic, right?
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of another topic, we can go ahead and wrap this one up and
Yeah,
pull
let's
the pin
pull the
unless you
pin on
got some
that. Yeah.
exciting information to add to this.
No, no, we're good. We're
Yeah.
good.
All right. Fair enough. Let's move into our favorite segment, our only segment, where we pull the pin on something in the world we live in, just that annoys us, totally unrelated to anything we're talking about, or it could be related, but whatever. We're going to pull the pin anyway. Mike, you got something or you want me to go first?
Uh, I don't know if we talked about this. Have we ever talked? I think maybe Nate talked about the fast lane, slow lane on
I think
highway.
a lot of people talk about that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still pull the pin again if that's all you got. I mean, I'm sure there's not much in this world that makes you angry or irritated.
No, no, no. Well,
I'm gonna have to start sharing my list with you because I mean, my list is endless. But
really?
yeah,
But
really.
no, it's just I like to try to get things from show to show,
Sure.
and that's one thing that was on my mind was the fast lane versus slow lane, and does it really make a difference?
Right.
And I want to say no. I want to pull the plug on it, pull the pin. Excuse me. Hey, back to episode 1, but pull the pin on that and say I don't think it makes a difference because no one's doing it, right? And it wouldn't work anyway until I go back. Something jogs my memory is when I was in Germany. It
Germany.
does,
Yeah,
and
Germany is good.
yeah, and it's enforced
Yeah.
over there.
And you
You
see
know,
those headlights coming, you better get over.
oh, yes. And if you're driving too slow, and if the police side just happen to be there, they will pull you over.
Oh, it was usually the pullet side with the headlights on behind
Yeah. You didn't move over for us. Now pull over in that shoulder. Let me talk to you.
you. Yeah.
And I've had people get pulled over for going too slow.
Right.
But that's just something about how we're not following the fast lane versus intermediate versus slow lane, and the ones who do it the most are the truckers.
Oh,
You know,
I pulled the pin on the trucks
yeah,
passing the trucks. Remember that?
yeah, yep.
Oh my
And I'm like,
gosh.
nah, I just experienced it, and I'm like, nah, I gotta pull the pin on that one, man, because
Yeah.
it's like, dude, wait till there's absolutely no one behind you. You know it's gonna take you forever to pass that truck. He's
Mhm.
doing 72, you're going 74.
And he
You
sees
got
you moving, so he does 74.
yeah.
Now you gotta do
So
76.
yeah, just to pass him, and it takes you about 3-4 miles just to pass him. I'm like, nah, man, let's pull the pin on that one.
Yeah, no, I agree. And interestingly, I could probably do an episode for over 10 minutes long on this. I mean, just the fast lane, slow lane stuff,
Yeah.
there's just so many dynamics to it. I feel like people just need to recognize that everybody's in a hurry. And if
Yeah.
you're not, get in the right lane.
Yeah, that's it.
Just get in the right lane.
That's
You know
it.
what I mean? It's not that hard. Or look in your rearview mirror. That's why they put it there. Side
Yep.
views mirror. You're actually supposed to be scanning it.
Yep.
So once you see somebody coming, you got to way over, get over.
That's
Whatever.
it.
But anyways, I agree. I'll pull the pin on that.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull the pin on something near and dear to my heart.
Oh, whoa.
Now, and I'll tell you this because I'm a memory guy because I have a bad memory. So I like to collect memories, photos, things like that. And one of the traditions I always hold up is yearbooks. Even my children. Well, my son went to kindergarten. They didn't have a yearbook. I created one. Literally got pictures from the class and classmates and created my own yearbook for him. So he has a memory of his kindergarten, even though he'll probably look at these people like, I don't know this. Well, this year, my daughter's in her first year of high school. And if anybody hasn't noticed, high schools aren't letting kids back in school.
Yeah.
Okay. So literally, I think she's been there on 4 different days in this whole year so far. But I get an email to order a yearbook. Okay. I'm not okay with that. I'm okay with that. Still plenty of year to go. But these are not like my son's $20 yearbooks. They're $85. $85 of what? You're going to print some generic history of the school and then put a bunch of names of people who could have been there? It blows my mind. I'm like, so I'm supposed to order this right now, not even knowing what I'm getting?
Right.
Or under the pretense, which I think an email went out asking people to send in pictures.
Wow.
So you already recognize that this yearbook is not going to be a traditional yearbook.
Right.
Which means you're not going to charge me a traditional price. So I'm going to pull the pin on that. And hopefully somebody who's behind all this is watching this episode. And they can send me an email and explain to me why they think I'm going to pay $85. And now, mind you, I have to buy this because that's the person I am. I have to have my daughter's memories, documented. I have to do this. So I'm probably going to end up ponying up into $85, but I'm going to be really pissed off about it. So yeah, I'm going to pull the pin on that. And I think whoever's behind this, you better send me an email, or please send me an email to make me feel a little more comfortable about giving you my $85. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So
I think you're going to be more upset when you get the yearbook.
Well, let me tell you, let me tell you how obsessed I am with this. I even went to so far. I laughed at my daughter because they're doing online classes. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if your kids are doing these or not, but literally there's 30 kids in this class, all the little squares, right? Out of the 30 kids, you only see 4 full faces. The rest of them are like their heads, the ceiling fans, the walls. These kids aren't even on camera. Yeah. So I was actually going to create a picture of these classrooms and just have the same scenario of all of them and just call that the class.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how serious I was about doing this. I was like telling my daughter to do it, but no. So I'm all into the yearbooks, guys. I love it. The idea is amazing to me. I'm fascinated by it, but $85 for a COVID year, not having it. So anyways, that's my pull the pin.
Okay.
Anything else you want to share about?
No, I agree. I have to agree with that pull the pin, man. That's $85. That's a standard price, right?
I think so. It's like I said, it's our first time in this year, and it's been a long time since I paid for my high school yearbook.
Wow, I need to see that yearbook, man.
Yeah. And I know they're hard covered. I know they're, they have more activities, so they got to fill more pages. I get it. There's a band club, this club, drama clubs, football team. So I get there's probably 1,000 pages in there. So I do understand it's going to be more expensive.
Yeah, but still, like, it's a bunch of Zoom pictures.
Right now, yeah. So that should have come with an email saying, well, it's planning on it being $85, but if we don't get it back in school, we're just going to do an honorable mention on a flyer.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
This could have been the football team.
Yeah.
This could have been.
None of that.
Yeah. So I'm definitely pulling the pin on that, and hopefully somebody's watching it because I'm pretty much dragging this on. Like everything could be a 10-minute show. What's going on here?
Yeah.
All right. That is all the time we're going to give to this episode. And we hope you enjoyed it, got something out of it. We do hope you actually get involved and share some comments because we love to interact with you, unless it's going to be something stupid. But we still love that too.
I'm about to say, just send them.
Yeah. Either way, thanks for watching. Until next time, Godspeed.
And pull the pin.
Thanks for joining us here. Pull the pin already. We hope you had as much fun as we did. If you like what we do, go ahead and hit that like button and share this video with a friend. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button so you don't miss out on any of our future episodes. But most importantly, leave a comment below. Let us know if you agree or disagree with our opinions. Hope to see you here next time on Pull the Pin Already.